Welcome to the Pulse of St. Louis. I'm Shirley Washington. Now that the holidays are over, people all across the St. Louis area are making New Year's weight loss resolutions. But the goal is lose the weight and keep it off, right? All right. Sarah Zimmerman, she lost 70 pounds. And transformation coach, the legendary transformation coach, Charles D'Angelo, helped her accomplish her goal. Thank you both so much for being here.
My pleasure.
This is exciting because people are making these New Year's resolutions because they want to drop the pounds and they want to keep them off. Sarah, let's start with you. How did you do it?
Well, Charles gave me a plan and I followed it.
Good advice, and good job. And so tell me, what was life like, though, before you lost the weight?
I was just overweight. I had just gotten on my third blood pressure medicine, and that was kind of the wake-up call that I needed to realize that I was 38 and I could not keep sustaining my lifestyle by just continuing to add more blood pressure medicines or other things like that. So I actually saw a photo of myself from a weekend prior, and that was a turning point for me. I called Charles on a Sunday morning. I will not forget, I was in church when he called me back, and I was like, oh boy. So I walked out of church into the parking lot and had my first phone call with him, and then we met that week.
Yeah. And so, Charles, you heard Sarah said, she said you gave her a plan.
Yes.
She followed that plan. What does the plan look like?
So many people come to me and they think they're there for weight loss. And certainly they get it. Sarah has 3 kids. She came not only because of her concerns for health, but also wanting to be as present as she could with her children, with her spouse, and really get as much from her life as possible. So while people come to me with weight loss front of mind, the real focus is on helping a person step into becoming someone who doesn't need to be rescued anymore. So if a diet worked, if a diet book were the answer, if a piece of gym equipment, or now with all the hype over weight loss medications, GLP-1s, all those things, if those things were the ultimate solution, we wouldn't see people like Sarah, the former me, I was 360 pounds, struggling the way we did. And the reason is people try to deal with emotional issues using food, and they try now to deal with food issues with an emotional solution. And you're never going to get to where you want to go unless you really reformulate the way you see yourself. You change your mindset around structure, accountability, and discipline. And that doesn't sound sexy because now there's so many different things out there that claim to make losing weight easier than ever. But here's the thing. While losing weight may very well be easier than ever, keeping it off has never been more difficult. And the reason for that is if you don't deal with what's leading you to use food, the way I once did, weighing 360 pounds, or the way Sarah did, you're going to find yourself maybe losing weight in the short term, only to go back to those old habits. Once your life gets difficult, once you get to a place where you say, I don't want to depend on medication, I don't want to have to undermine my own self-trust. Most of the people that come to see me, believe it or not, are medical doctors from all over the country. Just last week, I had a physician who's celebrating now having reached his goal of losing 80, 85 pounds. Prior to working with me, and he's just worked with me for 7 months, and he's lost almost 90 pounds in 7 months, he did one of these medications. And he said in 9 months' time, he lost 40 pounds. But he was having such difficulty with the side effects, he gave up the medication, and he gained back 2/3 of the weight. In 7 months, he lost almost 90 pounds with me, all naturally. Now, I'm not anti-drug. I don't want people to misunderstand me. I'm pro-transformation. So what I'm saying is you have to think about this as really mastery. We don't want to be depending on something. Who in the world, I certainly, when I was 17, 360 pounds, I couldn't imagine the rest of my life saying, I have to use this to be able to function. We have what we need, but we lose trust in ourselves as life unfolds. So, long-winded answer to your question. Do you need a strategy? Absolutely. Do I provide people with exactly what to do, when to do it? 100%. What to eat? All grocery store food. Where do you get it from? What do you do with activity? Now, here's the thing. Most people look at me and they say, well, this guy obviously is a trainer and I'm going to have to put on a tank top and shorts and go to the gym. My clients never go to a gym with me. The only exercise that's required as part of the program is walking. That's it. So you walk on a treadmill, you stay consistent with an eating schedule, and then you have accountability to make sure that when adverse circumstances come up, when you are stressed, when you lose a loved one, with AI, when your job starts to change, when you have that anxiety about what's the future look like, you come back to that grounded center place of knowing that you can handle what's coming up. The accountability, the coaching is what makes the difference. If I could, give a person a food plan and say, hey, I'll see you in a year, I think I would have figured that out a long time ago. That's not what makes the difference. The difference is having a new relationship with yourself so that no longer is food the treatment plan it once was.
So Sarah, tell me, what was it like for you, and how many different ways did you try to lose weight? I mean, did you go on the keto diet?
Keto diet, sure.
Did you try all these different diets? What was your situation?
I hadn't really tried a lot of things. I kind of just was like, I'm going to make a change tomorrow. Like, I'm going to stop doing this tomorrow. And I guess what I would say is there's no perfect time to make the change. Like, you'll just keep waiting and waiting for tomorrow will be the perfect time. The next day will be the perfect time. And really the perfect time is just now. Like for me, it was that I looked at that picture and it was a Sunday morning in September and I called. So while January is a great time to make a change, it can just be any day you want.
The best day I always say is yesterday. The second best day is today.
Yeah.
And so New Year's resolutions never work. And the reason is people don't change their identity. Again, it's not what you're getting that matters. It's who am I becoming? So no one's talking about that. There was a great teacher who once said, if you ever come into $1 million, best to become a millionaire real quick. Otherwise, you'll find that $1 million disappears. And we see that with people that right now the Powerball is higher than it's ever been in a long time. And someone wins that, and if they don't have the discipline of how to manage that, it's not long before they're right back to where they started before they stepped into that abundance.
So let's talk about that discipline. How does it look, and what do you do to make sure that you stay on track?
Well, you want to share what's come from the work we've done?
Well, you have to come in his office and see him every 2 weeks.
Now tell me about your personal experience from coming into his office and seeing him in 2
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah. What's the difference now? Because Sarah
Oh, like
maintained her
now?
weight. Yeah, she doesn't see me anymore.
I don't see him anymore. Yeah. So it's just this inner self discipline kind of that I have coming from being with him of, I know the things that I can have and that will make sense with the kind of plan that I'm currently on, and things that, I don't need things like that.
But did you change your diet?
Yes.
Okay, so what was your diet like before, and what is it like now?
So before it was like a lot of fast food, a lot of just, grab things that we can quickly eat
Convenience.
at home, convenience. Yes, for sure. Now it's just like a lot of whole food. I mean, lots of like chicken. I eat a lot of salmon, vegetables.
Whole grains.
Whole grains, yes. Like I have a protein shake in the morning still. Just things like that. And like hardly any fast food really.
And do you prepare your own meals?
I sure do. Yeah.
You prepare your
I do.
because
Yeah.
I think that makes a difference.
Yes.
And
because
sometimes-
sometimes even when you go to restaurants and you think you are eating healthy,
Yeah, you're not.
based on the menu.
There's
you're
so
not.
much in there.
No.
Exactly.
There
So
is.
that's why I'm asking, do you
Yes,
prepare
yes.
your own food?
And I think sometimes also a lot of times people get worked up with the meal prep part of life. But when I was on the plan, I for sure meal prepped, but it's really so simple. I mean, I was eating chicken a lot of nights a week, and on a Sunday we would grill like
Always
8
right.
chicken breasts, and that way at night when I got home from a kid activity and it was 7:30 or whatever time it was, I could just warm that up. It was ready for me. It was right there, and that was the 5-minute convenience that I needed, and some broccoli, and I was good to go.
She did all this while she has 3 children
Yeah.
at home.
So, and a lot of my change has trickled into like them. My littlest is 5, and when I cook broccoli now, she's like, I want broccoli. I'm like, okay, this is great. Here you
I'm
go.
glad you said that, because that was actually my follow-up question when Charles said, well, she's got 3 kids. It's like, okay, so you're on this plan. Does that trickle down to the family? And so now they're watching what you're doing and they are actually adapting
For sure.
the habits now.
And it's also interesting because when I was on the plan
More
for sure,
structured plan.
yeah, more structured plan, my husband was pretty much eating with me, and now, I just cook some different type of things. And he told me the other day, it was a lot easier when we were just eating chicken every night. Because now he's like, I gotta we gotta
Right, think about what
do
we're
some
gonna
other
prepare.
stuff. And I'm like, all right. So actually last week we grilled a bunch of chicken, and we're kind of just, because it's easy. It really
Right.
is.
Right.
You just have to set your mind to want to do it.
So it's a mindset.
It is.
And this is another thing that people really aren't talking about. Because everywhere you look right now, it's weight loss drugs, weight loss drugs, weight loss drugs. And weight loss drugs can certainly help with appetite. But what they can't help you deal with is what Sarah's talking about, is what was going on emotionally that allowed for food to take up so much landscape in my emotional economy. Why has food become such a big thing for me? And as a kid, I wasn't conscious that I was eating almost like a drug addict. My mother was an alcoholic. My father was a really hardworking blue-collar guy, but came from a family of obesity, Italian. And in an effort to try to save my mom from herself, I just totally denied my own needs. So it wasn't until I really stopped and I said to myself, what I want, what I wish for, what I desire actually matters. And for my life to get better, my mom's situation doesn't have to improve. That can or cannot improve. Independent of that, I can change. And if I change my choices, everything can change for me. So I think that a lot of people, unfortunately, are looking at this as an outside-in job. And what Sarah's saying is, this is an inside-out job. When you change inwardly and you say, I'm going to disconnect from using something, a substance, food in this case, as a way of distracting myself, consoling myself, not attending to the things I really need to, you reclaim your power. So many people come to me and they're saying, I know if I lose 60 pounds, I'll just be so happy. And they're not at all addressing that they're in an empty marriage, or maybe they've never had the confidence to even attempt to have a relationship, or they're in a job that they feel lacks vitality, and they're fearful of confronting that. So often I have found in now 22 years of coaching people, it's never about the food. Never about the food.
Was it not about the food for you, Sarah?
I guess no, I don't.
Well,
Were
if
you
you look
going
at,
through something? Or,
No, nothing
No?
specific. I mean, I just had 3 little kids, and I stayed home
just
with them.
had 3 little
I know.
kids.
I stayed home with
That's
them,
a
and so like
handful.
I'm like a little Uber driver for them in the evenings, and it was just a lot of overwhelm. And I was like, well, this is convenient. I'll grab this on the way home.
I'm going
and
to put
then,
my needs. Remember what you were
Right.
saying out in the lobby about your needs?
Yeah.
Before we started the show.
Well, I see the pictures are on before and after.
Yeah, there's Sarah.
There I
Yeah,
am.
and there she is now.
Wow.
That was the photo that I looked back. We had been at a football game over the weekend, and I was looking at those photos, and I was like, oh wow, this is not good. Sometimes you don't see yourself like that until you see it on
And that's what I was going to
the
ask.
outside.
Before you were just going on living your life, and then you saw that picture.
Yeah, for sure.
And it
And I
made you
mean,
stop.
I actually, like the day I started with Charles, I took a picture in like one of my favorite outfits. It's this like skirt and athletic type shirt. And then I put it on the day that I hit my 70-pound goal. And I honestly, it's wild to look at myself. I could not keep the skirt up. I had to like do all sorts of things to keep it up. But when I was wearing my favorite outfit before, I felt good in it. And I was like, this looks great. But now when I look at it, it's like, that was terrible.
What was
Sometimes-
it like for you when you hit your goal? I mean, when you actually dropped
was-
70 pounds, was it emotional? Was it like,
Yeah, it was
hooray?
so
What
great.
it like
It was
for
so
you?
great. It was just like freeing. And I mean, he told me when I first met with him that he thought I could lose 70 pounds. And I was like, I mean, this is wild. I was hoping to lose about like 30 and go on my ways. But, then I hit 30 and 40 and then 50. And he was
And
like,
how long did it take you to lose 70 pounds?
a full year.
Really?
Yes.
That's really not a long time, Charles.
It's
12 months.
a full year of focusing on myself, putting myself first. A lot of days choosing that hard. I mean, it is hard. It's not easy, but the outcome is just so great. I mean, I was just also telling him in the lobby that my husband had a holiday party, obviously, and I'm a last minute shopper. So I was trying on dresses, and my options were there were so many because everything I put on fit me, where previously, it was like, well, they don't have that size. They don't have that size. So it makes everything better.
What was your biggest size, by the way?
Probably about a 16.
A 16?
Yep. And then my dress that I bought was an 8.
So how have you managed to keep the weight off? Because people can lose weight. Most people can lose
Absolutely.
weight. But the challenge is sustaining that weight loss.
I'm just really focused on like whole foods, whole grains, protein, kind of counting what I'm doing almost. I mean, with Charles, there's no tracking. You just follow his diet and that's it. So, it's brought a little bit more awareness of what's in things. Like you said, you can go out to dinner and think you're getting this healthy meal and you're not. I mean, I've been looking at lots of food labels and things. And for example, we were at a taco place and I was like, oh, I'll get this salad. Surely it's better than like 2 tacos. The salad had over 1,000 calories in it. And the tacos were like 600 or something. And so, you just have to be aware of what you're putting in your body.
Do you count your calories?
Yes,
So you do count calories.
a little bit. I just do some macro counting now.
Yeah.
So just, the fats and the proteins
Carbs
and
and
carbs.
So that's part of the plan.
No, no, no.
No?
Sarah got to the end of the work with me, and then as a step into maintenance, got some support on macro coaching, which is a different philosophy. It's more or less being very conscious, and I certainly don't take any issue with anything that's effective. I'm not picky about results. My recommendation to people is try to keep it as simple as possible, because when food carries too much of an emotional charge, that's where it becomes a slippery slope for so many people that struggle like Sarah once did or I once did. And the more intelligent we are, the more capable we become of rationalizing. Well, it's just this one time. Well, I already messed up today. I'll get back on track Monday. So that's where I was saying earlier that it's not so much the losing 70 pounds. That's great. And like you just said, most people, and you're entirely right, most people can lose weight. The can isn't the issue. It's once I've done it, the anxiety that most people come to me with is, how do I keep this off? And I tell people, this is a journey without a finish line. One of the questions I get all the time, because as you said, I've been coming down to Fox 2 for 2 decades. And I can't even think of the number of clients we've had on. 50, 60, 80, 100, 200, 300 pounds they've lost. And people say to me, that's great, but how many of your clients actually keep the weight off? I always get that question, and I always get the same answer. I say, I won't be able to tell you that honestly. Every one of them has died. And the reason is, this is a lifelong journey. There's no finish line. I was 360 pounds at age 17. I'm now 40 years old. I continue to exercise every single day. I have 2 little boys and a wife. I coach clients from all over the world. But one thing that's non-negotiable is my exercise and the way in which I approach food. Food for me, it's not that I don't have birthday cake with my sons on their birthday or cookies with my wife on her on the anniversary or whatever. It's that food no longer has that adrenaline charge that it once did. So you really want to be skeptical of that part of yourself, particularly those of us who've a history of severe obesity that says, well, I should be able to have that. You've got to ask yourself, is that the healthy part of you talking, or is that the unhealthy part of you talking? And there's nothing wrong implicitly with any food. It's what is that serving in me? It's not what am I doing? It's what is having that in service to within me? Is this in service to that old version of me, or is this in service to maybe a healthy part of saying, look, I'm at a point now where, like Sarah, I can trust myself to have a cupcake. I'm not going to have 10, but that really is something each person has to come to over time. And we're in a society that wants instantaneous gratification. You pick up your phone, use AI, whatever, and we don't realize that things that matter have a gestation period. And so that's what I was trying to say, is that it's not so much just losing 70 pounds, it's who am I becoming in pursuit of what I want? So, hey, if you can get a quick result, fine. But the question you need to ask yourself is, when I want to stop, whatever it is, a drug or whatever, what is it I'm going to do? What are the disciplines I'm going to have in place so that I can ensure I can maintain the wonderful things that I've accomplished?
So what was it for you? Because Sarah shared it was a picture, a photograph, and she saw the picture and says, oh my goodness, I've got to do something. What was it for you when you were at your heaviest?
God's grace. There wasn't one thing. It was a realization that I might not live to see my high school graduation if I continued at that pace. I remember being in a classroom and my heart was beating out of my chest. I was 360 pounds. In this type of weather, right now, it's frigid. Now it's going to be unseasonably warm here soon. But I would notoriously be outside with a polo short sleeve shirt and shorts.
Yeah, we
Now-
got a picture of you. I want to put the picture up as you're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was a child, there I am on the left-hand side there, and there I am on my 40th birthday, not to be narcissistic or vain, but I wanted to capture, hey, here's my peak, I'm 40, there I am on the right, all downhill from here. No, I'm just kidding. But I try to have a sense of humor about the whole thing. The time I was 17 and 360, I was so overweight, I probably had undiagnosed hypertension. I didn't even know it. So I'm in this classroom, I'm taking the test, and beads of sweat are dripping off of my face onto the exam. And the nurse, I went to CBC High School on Clayton Road, the nurse walks by the room and she sees me, and I must have looked really, really horribly unhealthy. And she kind of motioned, and I wouldn't leave the classroom. because I was terrified of whatever the outcome was going to be, my blood pressure, whatever. And I realized in that moment that if I didn't make changes, I probably wouldn't live to see my senior year. And one thing after the other came together and led me to the right opportunities, right experiences. And I always tell people the last thing I want to be called is a self-made person. I've been incredibly blessed. I've had so much help and so many wonderful mentors in my life that have pointed me in the right direction. So I don't consider this a job. I consider this a calling. I have done this since I lost the weight. I mean, Fox 2 came and interviewed me at the gym I was working out at when I did. And this is all I've ever done my whole life. So I love it. And I love, in a sense, that there's so much attention being brought to weight issues. But it's scary to me that something no one's talking about is no one's overweight to the degree I was or Sarah was because of appetite. And so everyone's coming at this with this idea of, well, we'll just take something to quiet our appetite, reduce food noise, slow digestion. But you're not dealing with why you were going to food in the first place. And that's not going to change because you're losing weight. So I've never really been in the weight loss business. I've been in the mastery business, self-mastery, identity, helping people change the way they see themselves, seeing themselves as they want to be, and then closing the gap between where they are and getting there. As Sarah said so brilliantly, she came in and she had a very low bar for herself. She said, I don't say that as judgment. My client's issue isn't that they set the bar too high and they fail to meet it. It's that they set the bar too low and they do. So as a coach, my goal is to help people see themselves greater than they're capable of seeing themselves right now, and then becoming that. So it's really a process of becoming the type of person who doesn't need to be rescued by anything, who has self-trust, who knows what it really means to love themselves so that food no longer occupies such space in their life.
And you're healthier, right?
I am, yes.
Because you said you were on 3 medications. Are you still on those medications?
I'm not. I was
So
on
what were you-
3 blood pressure medicines, anxiety medicine, and I was sleeping with a CPAP because sleep apnea. But through the program, I weaned off of my blood pressure medicines and my anxiety and no longer have my sleep apnea. But I think, like he said, even in his own journey of like taking the steps to get where he is, I had told my husband when I started this, like, I better see results because this seems really hard. And the results were really
Fast.
very quick in the beginning. I mean, they were quick. I was suddenly down like 25 pounds in like 4 weeks or something. I was like, maybe it was 6 weeks. I don't know.
Yeah,
It was quick.
but Shirley, we were talking out in the lobby before. I said, my major frustration is I'm a one-man army. You know, I know you said some very flattering kind things about me. And I've been very privileged. I work with executives, I work with leaders, I work with politicians, I work with doctors. But I'm one
Celebrities.
person. Sure, yeah, well-known folks, public figures. But I'm one person. And what's so important for me to get across is that this is incredibly simple. I'm not going to say it's easy because you are going to have to say no to things that you were using almost in an addictive way. But the dividends you get, and you're never hungry. Is that an exaggeration on my
You're
part?
No,
never
I mean,
hungry?
people did ask me, like, aren't you so hungry? And I would say, like, well, no, because I was having a meal like every 3 hours.
Every 3 hours you eat?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
what do you eat every 3 hours?
Like
You can go through it.
a protein shake in the morning, some almonds. Then I would have my Subway sandwich and my chips, which was delightful because one of my things.
Subway sandwich.
Convenient, yeah.
It is because one of the things that I spend a lot of time in the car, and one of my like, I don't
We
know,
had to
things
deal with
is
it,
eating
yeah.
in the car. And so actually that little need of mine was fulfilled because I would go to Subway and I could eat in the car or I could drive home. And then that was filled. And then I would have a string cheese, chicken or salmon for dinner, some vegetables. And the best part was the 9 o'clock popsicle every night.
Popsicle, you got popsicle.
That's
So
right.
just all real food, you
Yeah.
know? And it's so darn simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. And to Sarah's point, and I said that I had that physician who did a weight loss drug for some time, and he lost less weight over a longer period of time with side effects. He lost more weight in shorter time with no side effects, just eating. And I'm not saying you have to come to me. I'm saying you want to go to someone who knows the lived experience of what it's like to be where you are. And like I said, I have tremendous respect for the medical doctors. Why? They are doing something that is so difficult. They're being present in so many people's pain. And some of my best friends are medical doctors. I have to say that with so many physicians coming to me for coaching, that tells me something important. Off the record, one of my clients who's a physician said, I prescribe the medication, but I worry about my patients because of the muscle loss that they experience because they're not making lifestyle changes. And a doctor can't make anyone do anything. So unless you understand your own psychology and you understand how to recondition yourself, so the things you once hated doing become things you actually like doing. What's one thing you used to hate doing that you now love doing?
Walking on the treadmill.
Walking on the treadmill.
I know. I'm like, I gotta go
Right.
walk. I need to
Yeah.
move myself, move my body.
So it's all about conditioning. That's
Yeah.
what the work's all about.
All right. Well, that is it. I'm out of time. I appreciate you guys for coming in, Sarah and Charles. Always good to see you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for joining us for the Pulse of St. Louis and Shirley, Washington. I will see you next time.